Hi, we're filming at the Small Cap Stars Conference here at the NASDAQ MarketSite. I'm Henry Truck with Equities.com. Sitting here with me is Brian Bapty with Helius Medical Technologies. Brian, you're the Director of Strategic Development for the company. The company has a very interesting device that helps, I think, MS and other neurological disorders. Can you tell us about that and an overview of the company?
Sure. The device is in testing for MS, traumatic brain injury. We hope to be in studies for stroke as well next year. It's minimally invasive. It sits on your tongue, actually, and stimulates cranial nerves through its action on the tongue. And it's used in combination with physiotherapy. And when I say physiotherapy, it's whatever therapy is designed to overcome the deficit the patient has. So if they have a balance issue, you do physiotherapy to improve your balance with the device in your mouth for 20 minutes. If you have an issue with mobility, you'll find whatever limb has a mobility issue and you work with that limb. So it's used again in context of physiotherapy, and it's entering pivotal studies in late first quarter next year.
So it's a very interesting, I guess, research in science. How long has that been in development?
The product itself has been evolving, but a number of years is the simple answer.
Yeah.
The company is relatively fresh. It was very much a lab project for years. However, and it's done some small clinical studies, but it's only been in the last sort of 7 months when it's geared up to enter broader clinical studies and move forward into pivotal studies again, sort of end of first quarter, early second quarter next year. So device-wise, it's gone through a lot of evolution. The end device, which we hope to mass market with approval, will actually have that prototype completed and ready for scale up in January.
Oh, very exciting. So we're here at the Small Cap Stars Conference, as I mentioned. You're one of the presenters, and there's a lot of excitement about what you were talking about. What are some highlights that you can share with us?
Sure. First, neurology is probably one of the last great unknowns, if you will. It's a very difficult field. Every patient responds a little bit differently. And this device, because it's minimally invasive, is quite easy for a patient to use. There's really no deleterious side effects. But we're entering multi-billion-dollar market opportunities. So we've got a device that can move quickly through the approval process, again, with positive clinical data in our pivotal studies. But once it gets through that process, MS, stroke, traumatic brain injury, these are huge indications.
Right.
We don't really have a competitive landscape because we're agnostic to the drug the patient's on beforehand. These patients have failed therapy, so they're really quite desperate. The other interesting aspect of this product is it seems to work at generally improving function.
Yeah.
So we're a little bit agnostic as to what caused the underlying brain problem. So when I say traumatic brain injury, stroke, or MS, really it could be anything.
Right.
So whatever has caused you to have a defect, we're agnostic. We don't care. As long as we can get the patient using the device in the context of physio, we generally see an improvement, which is again unique because most people think of a device or a drug against a specific indication.
Right.
Our indication is really problems with your brain. So that's a pretty big catch-all.
So how does the patient get a hold of the device,
Well, again, we can't sell it or distribute it outside of clinical studies until the FDA gives it its blessing. So
is the idea to have it prescribed, or is it over the counter?
So let me just finish on that approval process. We've assembled a top team of physicians and consultants in our scientific advisory board to ensure that process is seamless and to get the best study design that we can.
Right.
We're also working with the U.S. military on traumatic brain injury because they have a big issue with their troops who've suffered a casualty or an injury in training, and they need to be able to provide the best care for those patients. So we're working with them as well, and that's an ongoing process. So in terms of when the device will eventually be prescribed, it'll be prescribed by a physician or neurologist, but then used with the physiotherapist.
Right.
So it's really a two-part system, and as that patient improves or whatnot, the physio may change or be augmented. The patient may be cured. In the case of a traumatic brain injury, the patient might be walking again and be just fine. In the case of an MS, where the disease may progress and the symptoms may shift, you'll have to continue to go back to your physiotherapist. You'll obviously want to monitor the disease, but you'll have to go back to the physiotherapist and change your therapy to make sure you're still working on whatever you have a deficit on.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned January as a milestone period for you guys. Are there any other things, within the next year and a half that investors watching your company should look for?
Sure. There's a few things. First of all, the general space of neuroplasticity and encouraging the brain to relearn is a very hot space to be in. So you'll see a lot of neuromodulation, neurostimulation type companies or science evolving. So that continues to, and I think you'll see some popular press out early next year. So keep your eye on that. Again, we do receive the device that we're ready for scale up in January. That's being built up by Zymedica. Our pivotal study in 4 different centers. This is the one funded by the U.S. military in traumatic brain injury. We're aiming for the end of April as a start. So April, May, call it end of first quarter, early second. We'll be in pivotal studies. That's quite key. And then we hope again the company continues to increase in visibility from an investor perspective. So one of the reasons we're here, and we can add other indications. So look next year again, shortly after the traumatic brain injury study starting, and the pivotal study. We'll do the same in MS, starting with out at the Montreal Neuro, and look for us hopefully with some freed up capital to do something in maybe stroke. And look for, again, the military is doing work in tinnitus, PTSD, pain and sleep associated with traumatic brain injury. So hopefully they'll move ahead in some of those studies as well. So a lot of news coming in the next 12 months. But most importantly is that pivotal study. Once you're in a pivotal study, and you can start anticipating when that product will start to generate some data in a broad study. And that's really what investors get excited about.
So you guys are doing a lot of great work in a very exciting field. Like you're helping a lot of people. As you mentioned, you want to kind of get the word out, but where can people go to get more information about you, to stay updated?
Sure, the easiest is the website, and that goes for patients as well. We have a lot of inbound requests from patients who want access to the device, which of course we can't get them yet. We're trying to move ahead. So some of those patients in traumatic brain injury and stroke, I would encourage them to see if they're eligible for some of these studies. It's always good for a company to be able to enroll patients faster in a pivotal study or any clinical study. So there's we can do reach out on that front to try and get patients in that we can potentially treat and help as soon as we possibly can. And again, our website is a good source for that.
And that's heliusmedical.com.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So just Google us up, you'll find us. We're not hard to find. Once you get in contact with the company, we can direct you in any direction you'd like. From an independent science perspective, historical, scientific documents, etc. Any publications we've got. From an investor perspective, as I said, as we increase our presence, hopefully more so into the U.S., then you'll be able to see us on trading more on different exchanges and evolving.
Absolutely. You guys are doing very innovative things. We're very happy to have you at the Small Cap Stars Conference. Brian Bapty.
Thank you very much.
Ticker symbol is HSDT. That's Helius Medical Technologies. This has been the Henry Truck at the Small Cap Stars Conference at the NASDAQ MarketSite. Thank you all for watching.
Thank you.